The big wireless companies sold you an outdated plan tied to long-term contracts and mystery fees. Simple Mobile's different. You get a lightning-fast 4G LTE nationwide network with no contract, ever. And keep the phone and number you love. Just text the word BYOP to 611-611 to see if your phone is compatible. Simple Mobile. Out with the old, in with the simple.
Standard text message and data rates may apply based on your mobile phone service. Please refer always to the privacy policy at simplemobile.com/privacypolicy and the terms and conditions at simplemobile.com/terms and conditions.
On today's episode of the FF Faceoff Fantasy Football Podcast, we will participate in our first fantasy football mock draft of the 2019 offseason.
Team like what? You ain't on the team like who?
Welcome to the FF Faceoff, where fantasy football is debated. Here are your hosts from the East Coast, who've never heard a bet they didn't like, Michael Hauff and Anthony Cervino.
So I keep it rapping when you dwell at night. Skinny boy, but you can tell it's Mike. Hit the venue, then it's hella hype. Scumbag Chad, you better spell it right. Put some respect on my name, damn, I'm grinding hard for a better. You could've hopped on the chain, man, but you rather hate it and send a spite. You ain't with the team right now, ready for the scheme right now, yeah. Rolling with the steam right now, ready for the dream like now.
Welcome back, folks, to the FF Faceoffs podcast, proudly brought to you by Gridiron Experts, where fantasy meets reality. We are live on YouTube right now. We're also live on Periscope. You can access that either by going to YouTube, of course, or if you head on over to Twitter, and if you go to @TheRealNFLGuru, that's my podcast partner over there, Anthony Cervino. You could check out the link to the Periscope video or go to the Periscope app. Either way, we're giving you as many options as possible. It's getting hard to avoid us. We're also on podcast format, so check that out as well. Today, we're going to be coming at you with a little bit of NFL news and, most importantly, our first mock draft of the 2019 season. It's going to be a full-point PPR, so if you use standard folks, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Sorry about that. My name is Michael Hauff. You can follow me on Twitter @the FF Realist. My partner in crime is Anthony Cervino, as I mentioned. He can be followed the Real NFL Guru. Anthony, how's about you?
Mike, I'm doing great. I feel great. I started training again back in the gym, first time in over a year. I feel okay. I'm sure I'm going to be sore, but I'm good. I'm pumped. I got the energy, and this is a big reason why, despite the cosmetic, the energy is back. I feel good.
That's what you need. And listen, that's the good kind of sore once you get back in there.
Oh, absolutely.
So kudos to you. I'm just putting out a tweet right now. Our first PPR mock draft. There it is. Look, I'm putting it out on Twitter. There you go. If you follow me at the FF Realist, it should be popping up right about now. Okay, so there you go. Anthony, let's get to our trending topic of the day. Now, listen, in most situations, I gotta be honest, we don't have a trending topic prepared 9 times out of 10. I thought right away Toy Story 4 should be the trending topic. The trailer was released today. If you're my age, I'm sure that's a little piece of your childhood at some point. I mean, we're getting to the 4th movie. One of those movies had to have hit you somewhere in the fields. And I watched the 4th trailer this morning. I'm pumped. I'm excited. I'm going to go see it. I've got 2 daughters. So I'll see it with them, but I'll probably see it by myself beforehand. Not going to lie. Anthony, your thoughts on Toy Story 4, and then we'll get to what developed into another not-so-trending topic.
Well, I think it's cool. I think 4 is a little much. I thought 3 was a little much. The first 2 were cool. But once you get to like 3, 4, like Police Academy started going downhill after 3. I stopped watching them at Moscow, and 6 was barely watchable without Mahoney.
Well, 6, for Christ's sakes, yeah. Well, listen, they've said this is the last Toy Story. They've said, this is literally the end. They've done the movie to be No mas. So don't worry, there won't be any trips to Moscow for Woody and Buzz, and there won't be any sixth installments either. So
I'll probably take my, maybe just, take my kid to Toy Story. I
okay,
have a son.
all right. I don't even need a kid to go.
Hopefully, he can sit through the movie.
I don't even need a kid to go. I'm going. I've got 2 daughters. I will bring them. I'll do right by them and bring them. But if I didn't have kids, I'd still go. So there you go. So there's that. Anyway, what developed into our other trending topic was Anthony started talking about food and eating right, meal preps, this and that, and somehow he got onto 7-Eleven cheesecakes. So, Anthony, why don't you tell the loyal listeners about 7-Eleven cheesecake?
Well, I went into 7-Eleven, and I'm a type of person where, if, like, have you seen it with the Japanese candies? If you put it right around the register and there's a line and I'm looking around, chances are I'm probably going to buy it, whether it's it could be anything, a trinket, food. And I saw that they have in their cool refrigerator section cheesecake. And who the hell doesn't crave cheesecake at 10 o'clock at night? That's my go-to dessert. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, they're little personal sizes. What's the worst that can happen if I try it? Because we discussed on the show before, I like their donuts.
Right.
This thing was outstanding. They need a bigger portion. It was strawberry. It had the strawberry swirl inside of it a little bit.
Okay.
So it was actually, for a 7-Eleven cheesecake, it was phenomenal.
Wow. You're phenomenal and 7-Eleven cheesecake in the same sentence.
Well, I'm not saying this is a gourmet Italian restaurant cheesecake. This is 7-Eleven cheesecake.
All right. Well, listen. Here's my deal on that one.
It blows away. If you ever went to a Chinese buffet, they have cheesecake. Chinese
you get
buffets.
Cheesecake at Chinese buffets too.
I don't like them. I don't like them.
I was going to say your stomach's made of iron.
Compared to that, this is like out of this world, Bakery Boss, whatever the hell that show is on TLC.
All right. Well,
Bacon Boss in Jersey City.
I'll put it this way: we've got a place here right by me on Long Island. It's called Mr. Bill's, best cheesecake in town. Literally right down the road from me. Whenever I get in trouble with the wife, I go on over to Mr. Bill's. And everything's forgotten. All wrongs are righted, I should say. I would never touch 7-Eleven cheesecake under any circumstances. I've tried the pizza. If it's fresh, they have this. I've actually asked the guys at the register. I've said, at what point do you throw that out? At what point,
is it like on The Simpsons? With the Cookie Mart episode when he drops the hot dog on the ground and they have the sting operation?
He basically says, when the shift is over, if no one eats it, then they throw it out. So anyway, if it's fresh, I'll give it a go.
It's such a waste. Give it away.
Okay. Either way, point I'm trying to make is
put it outside the front door and I'll eat it.
I will not eat hot dogs from 7-Eleven because with my heartburn, I'll burst into flames immediately. First bite. And I will not do cheesecake because that just sounds... 7-Eleven cheesecake are 2 things that I should never hear in the same sentence.
I suggest you try it.
I suggest
you try one of their donuts.
A donut, fine, even though they're hard as a rock.
No, they're not. I've never had a hard donut from 7-Eleven.
You are as passionate about 7-Eleven food as I am about Joe Flacco. There you go. We have finally found equals here. You're passionate about 7-Eleven food. I'm passionate about Joe Flacco. And there we go. All right. So that's our trending topics, even though one's not trending. Maybe it will be after this show. Probably not. So anyway, let's go ahead and do our mock draft, shall we? And one of those big pieces of news, unfortunately, which we don't love to discuss this stuff, Tyreek Hill looks like he's gotten himself into a bit of trouble. They're investigating it. There's an incident with his son. There's a broken arm, apparently. Where'd that broken arm come from? A lot going on there. But, Anthony, at least from the discussion of Kareem Hunt, who ended up getting 8-game suspension and ended up getting released outright for basically lying to the Kansas City Chiefs. No, not basically, he did. What are your thoughts here about Tyreek Hill? Not so much a situation, but because we know it's not good. And we hate to discuss this stuff, but do you think it's a position where the Chiefs would potentially release him? Do you think if this turns out to be legit, he's going to be suspended?
How is this not a double standard if they don't release Tyreek Hill? And and you brought it up, and I said it when it first happened. If Kareem Hunt from the get-go came clean and said, this is what happened, and it's going to come out, he would still be employed by the Kansas City Chiefs, and we wouldn't be talking about Damian Williams as their RB1.
Right.
If Tyreek Hill lies, I think he has a better chance of getting blown out. But if you're the Chiefs, are you really going to cut a Pro Bowl running back and then a Pro Bowl wide receiver? Because, let me tell you something. Everybody wants to talk about Pat Mahomes. Everybody wants to talk about Travis Kelce. Tyreek Hill, in my opinion, is the catalyst of that offense. That offense lost Kareem Hunt. They didn't skip a beat with Damian Williams. When that offense didn't have Tyreek Hill and you put his numbers up against Travis Kelce's, to me, Tyreek Hill is the reason why Travis Kelce is putting up the production. Go look at Kelce's first couple of years, and then go look at his career with Tyreek Hill in the lineup. And this is Tyreek Hill with Alex Smith and Pat Mahomes. This is Tyreek Hill doing it with, and you can even go back, when you talk about personnel, when Kelce was there before Hill, he had elite running backs. He had the combination who did well of Ware and West. They weren't elite, but they filled the shoes of Jamal Charles, who was elite.
Got the job done. Right.
And he had, so it's not like the personnel was all that different. If you look at Travis Kelce earlier in his career, and then you look at him with and post, the Tyreek Hill acquisition or the draft,
right?
That's when Travis Kelce took off. So if there was a situation where Tyreek Hill isn't in a lineup, or he's suspended or cut, first of all, I don't know how many more targets you can give Travis Kelce.
And all jokes aside, I know I tear Sammy Watkins apart. Sammy Watkins cannot shoulder the load of a wide receiver number one. He can't. He can't stay healthy. He's not durable for the job. So, yes, I know everybody's going to tell me, but he was so good in college. He's so fast. Yeah, it's great, but he can't stay healthy for a full 16. So, that'd be a problem as well.
Jeremy Maclin was the Chiefs' top wide receiver with Kelce before Tyreek Hill.
Right. Well, listen, and this is kind of, for better or for worse, depending on your perspective, that's the situation that the Chiefs put themselves in by releasing Hunt, which was considered admirable across the league, and across, most fronts. So yeah, and I think the way they play this is they say, well, Kareem Hunt directly lied to us about the situation. We'll see what Tyreek Hill does. We'll see. So either way, not a good situation. And you really, above all else, and I try and say this a lot, I tried to say this with the Kareem Hunt news, because he was suspended for 8 games. It's a little bit of news as well. It's almost mind-boggling to discuss Brady gets this many, but this guy gets this many, and this guy does that, and he gets this, and this is there, and that's that. It's mind-bending to try and understand and rationalize the consistently inconsistent way in which the NFL hands out suspensions.
Right.
So I think that part, at least from the suspension standpoint, you just hope that you ignore the amount of games and just hope that these guys just for once in their life just stop acting like this. Stop putting themselves in these positions. I mean, don't hit your kid. Or better yet, don't even put yourself in a position where it could be asked, where it could seriously be questioned. Did you hit your kid? Don't even put yourself in that spot. Whatever. So it sucks that this is the kind of stuff we got to talk about, but there it is. So we'll loop that together. That's Tyreek Hill. Kareem Hunt gets 8 games as well with the Cleveland Browns. When he does get back, if everything's all good, if he's on the straight and narrow, then we'll see what that does to Nick Chubb's fantasy value. So first 8 games without Kareem Hunt will tell us what happens to Nick Chubb. So.
And by the way, just Kelsey's numbers weren't horrible. He was still catching 67, 70 passes, almost 900 yards, 5 touchdowns. After Tyreek Hill got there, he was getting the 80 catches, the 1,000, 1,100 yards, and, the 8 and 10 touchdowns.
Right.
So he wasn't bad. I'm not saying Travis Kelce was, a terrible tight end before Tyreek Hill. The numbers and the proof is there increased after the arrival. Because how do you defend? I mean, I've said it before. Tyreek Hill isn't built like your prototypical wide receiver. He has those intangibles and that quickness to break a game open and break a play open, much like an Odell Beckham. He's not built like DK Metcalf and Julio Jones.
Speaking of Odell Beckham, his former team, the Giants, it's being reported by ESPN's Diana Rossini. She's saying that the Giants do not believe Dwayne Haskins is a fit with the team. If you follow me on Twitter at the FF Realist, you'll know that I agree, because how could the Giants be interested in him? He's not in his 30s. So, anyway.
But they still believe in Eli.
Okay. So, I mean, and also for what it's worth, Dave Gettleman was out there yesterday doing his best tap dance and his best smoke and mirrors about, his comments about how they didn't sign Odell to trade him. They got an offer they couldn't refuse, which I think you could have refused that offer. But whatever. So there's all that. He's taking a lot of heat here on the East Coast. That's not surprising. Also, just a sidebar. I've heard multiple things with the 49ers and the Giants during their trade negotiations. Apparently, the Giants wanted either the second overall pick or DeForest Buckner. And the Niners said no thanks on both. So,
do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do.
So do I.
As much as I want Odell, and I do want him, because listen, look at the alternative. Instead of Odell, I've got Jordan Matthews waiting in the wings. So while I wanted Odell, I wouldn't give up the second overall or DeForest Buckner. So there's that. But Anthony, really quick, I don't want to go too much time into this because you could talk about the Giants all day. But 2 picks in the first round, do they go quarterback? Yes or no?
I absolutely do. And I actually...
You think they do?
I believe they go quarterback and receiver.
Okay.
I think they want to have a similar situation to Dallas, to where they have their young pieces all grow together. I mean, Dallas lucked out getting Dak in the 4th round, Zeke, a top 3 or 4 pick, and they can mature together. And Amari Cooper, despite being in the league for a long, it seems like forever, he's young. I mean, I think there's a couple of players coming out of college older or as old as Amari Cooper.
Right. So, all right. Well, you know what? This could be one of our bets, because I say that the Giants do not take a quarterback in the first round.
When do they get? So they're going to wait till next year?
I just, based on, and this is the thing. I'm not even saying that that's a logical decision, but based on everything that the Giants have been doing, I mean, it's still illogical. It's following right in the path of what they're doing anyway. They're getting rid of Sterling Shepard. They're letting Landon Collins walk, but they're giving a 4-year contract to Golden Tate. So,
Sterling
Odell. Yeah, whatever. So they do that. If they're doing all that, all those illogical moves, and yes, I'm going to pile on with the illogical, irrational behavior and say that they do not take a quarterback.
Hey, Shepard's in a walk year.
Yeah.
So he could bet. That's why I said it like that. Like, did something happen that I didn't see? Because it wouldn't surprise me if Sterling Shepard was on the move.
So, all right, let's run through the. We can get to our mock draft. A couple signings here. Bengals did re-sign Tyler Eifert. Hopefully he stays healthy. Would be great to see. I think just about everybody's probably rooting for him. Jaguars have signed wide receiver Chris Conley, which I think is a nice little sneaky signing there, Anthony. Do you like that one?
I do.
You dig it at all? Yeah, a little bit?
We don't know what Chris Conley is.
Right.
He's flashed a little bit, but look at Albert Wilson. Look at all the talent he had that nobody really saw before, because he was in Kansas City, and that was really, Travis Kelce was always that second option at receiver or, at pass catcher.
Right.
I don't know if Chris Conley is going to have that big of an impact. Dallas, Jacksonville, they have a roster full of wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3s. I don't think they have a number 1 wide receiver. But, Marquise Lee and Keelan Cole, D.D. Westbrook, they're like wide receiver 2s and 3s. And Conley kind of fits in. I think it's very much going to be a wide receiver by committee. I don't know if there's going to be one dominant receiver in Jacksonville.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Speaking of wide receivers, the Packers have also re-signed Geronimo Allison to a 1-year contract. The 49ers, I did mention it, so I'll mention it again. They signed Jordan Matthews to a contract as well. Very excited. Very excited. He should solve all their wide receiver problems.
Don't sleep on Jordan Matthews if he's healthy.
Don't sleep on him. I'm in a coma. How's that sound? They also, to add to the intrigue with the running back position there in San Francisco, Raheem Mostert got himself a 3-year contract. I know people don't like this opinion, but I still think if anybody goes, it's going to be Breida. I think Mostert is too valuable on special teams to go. But there's the one that Anthony's been mentioning for months. He's mentioned Jerick McKinnon. So, and there was some rumors that the Niners and Eagles were talking trade, which, I mean, the popular opinion there would be perhaps it is for a running back. San Francisco's got a lot of them. Philadelphia needs one. But yeah, so there's that. Anthony, anything to mention?
Yeah, in the event, and I saw the rumor, in the event that the 49ers open 2019 with Jerick McKinnon, Matt Breida, Tevin Coleman, and Raheem Mostert, didn't Kyle Shanahan or John Lynch say we could run with 4 active running backs, which would make it a fantasy football nightmare?
No, this is unequivocally going to be a fantasy football nightmare. This is going to be something that's going to be tough to judge on a week-to-week basis. One week McKinnon will be the hero. The other week Tevin will. It's going to be a nightmare. Yeah, it's basically Russian roulette, fantasy football style. So there you go. A little bit of Titans news in a bang double play. They released Blaine Gabbert, and they went ahead and they acquired Ryan Tannehill and a 2019 6th-round pick from the Dolphins in exchange for a 4th-round pick in 2020 and a 7th-round pick this year. Nice pick by the Dolphins because they clearly wanted nothing to do with Tannehill anymore. They signed themselves Ryan Fitzpatrick to a 2-year deal, which screams out this is a bridge quarterback to get us to the 2020 draft.
And then he's going to go win 6 and 8 games and get him a 12th pick again.
He probably will. and anything to mention on all that, the Titans front?
I love the move
Fitzpatrick.
for the Titans. I've said it on the show a few times. They absolutely positively needed a better quarterback and a more reliable quarterback than Blaine Gabbert.
Right.
Tannehill, if healthy, he's not terrible. Before the injury, he had the Dolphins knocking on the door of the playoffs. He had a winning record with Adam Gase in his career. And he's not terrible in his full career overall, even with Philbin. He's only a couple of games under 500. Blaine Gabbert, I don't know if he's won 20 games collectively in his career. So there's that. I think that's an upgrade. And here's a little bit of a hot take. Ryan Tannehill is going to start week 1. Tennessee Titans. And if he doesn't start in week 1, I think he ends up starting not because of injury. Marcus Mariota threw 7 touchdowns last year.
People would probably call that a hot take, but you know what? I think I agree with you.
7
that's
touchdowns.
Not something I place a bet on. That's not something I place a bet on. We've been waiting for Mariota to break out for 2 years now? From a fantasy football perspective? We've said
3.
3 now? Okay, well. There you go. Also, the Broncos added themselves, they re-signed, so they didn't add themselves. They just kept a guy. A nice little weapon for your Joe Flacco. Jeff Hireman, 2-year contract, $9 million. Anthony, anything else to mention in the news before we head to our mock?
Anything absolutely relevant? Vikings re-signed Dan Bailey. Trent Murphy is going to be brought back by Buffalo. That's a great move if you were in an IDP league. He's a pretty solid bench option, bye-week replacement when he's healthy. Vontaze Burfict, that was a big one. The Bengals moved on from him, which is something I expected. I wrote about that in my free agency preview for the Bengals, and He is going to visit the Oakland Raiders, which is the obvious landing spot because of Gunther.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, really, Burfict was the big one. Eric Flowers going to Washington. All the reports are saying they're going to transition him to guard. Wise move because he can't play tackle in the NFL on either side.
Nope. Negative.
So, and then there's obviously the Cowboys. They're in the Robert Quinn conversation with the Dolphins, along with the Saints. They both have an interest in Robert Quinn. Cowboys are reportedly going to visit with Randall Cobb. That could have happened already. And Eric Berry. I love what the Cowboys are doing. Not spending all the money in the first week. Getting
because they don't have it
value
anyway.
Veterans.
Smart.
Yeah. You know, Randall Cobb, nobody was talking to him. You didn't hear his name in the first week. You did not hear, Eric Berry when he was released. He a little bit.
People, well, I think the only reason why you heard something was because people just assumed that John Dorsey would come calling.
No, Cole Beasley, look what he signed for. They are going to pay. They're going to pay less for Randall Cobb. And then Eric Berry, the upside. If Eric Berry is healthy, he can make as big of an impact as Earl Thomas, and they could get him for half the money. And that's not a hot take. Earl Thomas is great, but if you remember a healthy Eric Berry, he was great too. Eric Berry was the best safety in the league at one point.
Absolutely.
So that's about it.
Listen, a Cowboys fan will always find optimism in anything, but I do have to handle Anthony. There is some optimism lying around here with Dallas, and smart move, because, again, they don't have the money to spend, so nice to kind of line the weeds and start plucking these players out of the sky. So there you go. We'll see what happens in Dallas. Anthony, with all that being said, are you ready to get into our mock draft?
Absolutely. Let's get into it.
All right. Listen, I'm going to make this my full screen now for the draft board. Anthony's going to do that as well, which, healthy reminder for you YouTube folks, or if you're watching, I guess, on Periscope, it should show up. Anthony puts the draft board on his screen, so you're able to follow along with the draft. I'm going to announce some of the picks as we go here. But listen, we got 12 team mock draft here, full point PPR, as I mentioned when the show kicked off. Pretty much a basic lineup, one flex position, one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, tight end as well, kicker, defense, and 5 or 6 bench spots. We'll find out the hard way. I forget offhand. What's that?
I was going to say, I have the draft board on the screen for anybody listening in podcast format, whether it's the Gridiron Experts Network of Podcasts or the Grilling Truth. Please make sure you're subscribed to the FF Faceoff directly, because we are always putting out shows that don't necessarily go onto these other feeds. And for all of our podcast listeners, go to YouTube and check out our YouTube page if you haven't. Subscribe to that, and if you can actually watch this draft unfold on the screen, you're not going to be looking at us. You're going to be looking at the draft on SleeperBot right there on YouTube. So make sure you head to YouTube, like, and subscribe. And please, especially you Apple Podcast users, leave us a 5-star rating and some kind words in the review section telling everyone why you love the FF Faceoff and why the FF Faceoff is the best damn fantasy football podcast where fantasy meets reality, because the more subscriptions, ratings, and reviews that we get, the more people we can reach. And in the end, we want to help each and every one of you win fantasy football championships, dominate your leagues, and absolutely positively crush the competition. Mike, let's get this going.
Anthony doing the housekeeping. I like it. Saves me the trouble. Anthony always takes care of that. Love it. So 12-team mock draft here. I'm going to be selecting from the 7th spot. Anthony, you're sitting back in the 10th spot, correct?
Yes, I am.
All right. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into this. We are doing it again on the Sleeper app, doing it on the desktop site. But yeah, that's a great little app to use. So definitely check them out. Let's begin this draft. All right, so there you go. First couple picks. Now I'm going to read off the first couple rounds for those folks that are listening on podcast format. But again, eventually I will give up, because I only have so much whiskey, and then my throat will get dry. First couple picks, we have Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, Ezekiel Elliott, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian McCaffrey, and Michael Thomas. Anthony, this is interesting because it's going to be, where's Todd Gurley going to go? I'm going to let him slide a little bit further. I'm going to go Odell Beckham here. Full point PPR. I think he's going to get fed over there in Cleveland by Baker Mayfield. Todd Gurley goes right after. Then Devontae Adams. So now, Anthony, it's up to you.
Okay,
and we do have a clock, Anthony. No pressure.
We do. How long is the clock?
2 minutes, which is obviously fine.
Sitting at the 10th spot. Wow. And I'm really high on Joe Mixon this year, and he's really tempting. Especially with all the big dogs gone. Tyreek Hill, that's my guy. I can probably get him coming back, and there's so much uncertainty surrounding him. There's some value running backs in the later round, so I think I'm going to get my guy, Joe Mixon.
All right.
Who I believe is poised for a breakout year.
So after the Joe Mixon selection, rounding out the first round and going into the second round, we see Tyreek Hill and Melvin Gordon. Then the start of the second round is Julio Jones and Amari Cooper. So there you go, Anthony. Now where are you going?
I'm really shocked that Odell Beckham Jr. went where he went. Because he was going closer to the second round last year, and OBJ went 1.7. There's a couple good running backs. Mike Evans is on the board. It's about that time to where these guys aren't going to come back. And, buried is Le'Veon Bell.
Huh.
And I'm going to take Le'Veon Bell.
Love it.
So I start out Joe Mixon, Le'Veon Bell. Because Bell isn't coming back.
I could tell you that my selection was Odell Beckham, and the reason why I took him where I took him was because he's not playing with Eli Manning anymore. And he's playing with Baker Mayfield, and he's an all-world talent, and Baker Mayfield's going to make sure that he gets fed and fed properly.
I'm not shocked that you took him.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that I thought, number one, I thought it was a bot. But it makes a lot of sense because, to me, OBJ is a mid to late round first rounder. The fact that he was going so close to the second round or early in the second last year was mind-blowing.
And you know what I'm going to do here? I'm just going to blow minds of people. I'm going to wait on running back till the next round, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Antonio Brown. I'll take Antonio Brown here. I believe in the love fest that's going on. Antonio Brown, his mustache is no longer blonde. His hair is no longer blue. I think he's a normal person just like me and you, so I'm going to take him. So there's Antonio Brown. I've got wide receivers locked up. Coming off the board after that, David Johnson, Nick Chubb, Dalvin Cook, Stephon Diggs. Our first tight end is Travis Kelce. He comes off the board. Then James Conner to finish the second round. Kicking off the third round, we see Pat Mahomes, which is no surprise. A.J. Green, Keenan Allen, Brandon Cooks, Kerryon Johnson, Adam Thielen, and then me again. So there you go. It is back to me. I do have two wide receivers, as I mentioned. I think I'm going to wait a little bit longer on running back. I know this is a terrible idea. You know what? I'm going to be the test dummy here. We're going to draft this team. We're going to see how it goes. I'm going to go George Kittle here. There you go. I'm going to go George Kittle. After that goes Sony Michel, Aaron Jones, Anthony. I'm leaving myself an alert at the running back position here. What are you doing here in the third round?
There's a couple of running backs still left that have, fringe RB1 upside. I'm in the third round. I don't have a wide receiver, and I'm going to pick again, really soon coming back around. I'm going to fade tight end until later. I'm going to try to stack up on my backs and receivers right now. This is really tough, Mike, but I'm going to go with my guy, Darius Geis.
So you're not worried there because Adrian Peterson has a 2-year contract there?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so there you go. So Darius Geis off the board. Zach Ertz, so 3 tight ends in the first 3 rounds. Then Kenny Galladay, Corey Davis, which is absolutely disgusting, kicks off the 4th round. T.Y. Hilton, and then back to Anthony.
And for the record, I am more worried about Darius Geis getting off to a slow start because of the recovery and his knee. But after, good 4 weeks, I believe Darius Geis will be, the clear-cut RB1 in Washington.
Well, we have mentioned that before on the show. If Darius Geis does start off slow in your drafts, do not be afraid to buy low because, yeah, second half he could win you a league. Anthony, where are you going here?
I'm tempted with Leonard Fournette. I am.
Okay.
There's also Philip Lindsay, Kareem Hunt, Marlon Mack, Derrick Henry. But since I need a receiver with Robert Woods, DJ Moore, Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson, Calvin Ridley on the board, I think you know where I'm going, and that's going to be Cooper Kupp in the 4th round to start off with Mixon, Bell, Darius Geis, Cooper Kupp in a PPR league.
I like it. So after the Cooper Kupp selection, Leonard Fournette does follow off the board. Then DJ Moore in the 4th round, which is kind of interesting to me. I do need a running back here. Listen, I know he's not going to catch 100 balls like a Christian McCaffrey, but I believe in the Derrick Henry hype, so I am going to jump on Derrick Henry. I will make that selection official. After that, we see 2 quarterbacks go off the board, Deshaun Watson and Aaron Rodgers, followed by Robert Woods, Philip Lindsay, Andrew Luck, then Marlon Mack, so 2 Colts finish the 4th round. Then we get to the 5th round, Calvin Ridley, Allen Robinson, Jarvis Landry, Rashad Penny, Chris Godwin, Alshon Jeffrey, and now it's, to me, 7th pick in the 5th round. So right now, currently, I have 2 wide receivers already. I've got a tight end. I can either go with another wide receiver or I could go running back here. Taking a look at things, I think I'm going to push the envelope a little. I'm going running back. Who am I kidding? And I'm going to go Kareem Hunt. It would be a nice pick a little bit later on. I think I'll have some impact. I do like Devontae Freeman, but you know what? I'm going to go Tariq Cohen. I bought into Tariq Cohen. I buy into him this year, and he will catch a lot of balls. So I'm going to go Tariq Cohen. Kareem Hunt follows him off the board, followed by Cortland Sutton, and then back to you, Anthony.
Back to me. I got 3 running backs, quarterbacks. There's some good quarterbacks left, but it's still a little bit early when I can, with the real estate I can get in the later rounds. Talk about running backs. The value you can get here in the 5th round with Devonta Freeman. You know what he used to do with the Atlanta Falcons. You know that Dirk Cutter's going to probably run the ball with him a lot. Ito Smith could eat into his touches a little bit. I know they like Ito Smith, but Devonta Freeman's going to have every opportunity. There's Chris Carson, who is going behind Rashad Penny. I'm going to go wide receiver here. And it's tough now here in the 5th round. Man. Yeah, it's a little tough.
50 seconds.
There are 3 Mike Williams, Will Fuller, Sammy Watkins, players that I cringe around. No, I'm going to take a chance. I'm going to take a chance here on where is he?
I don't know.
I'm going to go Tyler Boyd.
Son of a. All right.
Tyler Boyd, when AJ Green is on the field, is terrific. Yeah, now, without AJ Green, I'm a little bit worried, but with AJ Green, Tyler Boyd puts up some big numbers, and now you're going to inject Zach Taylor's philosophy into it.
Well, with all due respect, screw you, because I was going to take him. All right, so, yeah, that's a compliment, by the way. After Tyler Boyd goes Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, then 2 former teammates, Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman, kick off the 6th round. Anthony, it's back to you. Where are you going?
Yeah, there's some good. I think I'm going to go running back again, Mike.
Okay.
And a couple of good ones here. I said about Carson. You have Mark Ingram in that offense. You have McKinnon, who was a 2nd, 3rd round pick last year. Kenyon Drake, Damian Williams. There is an abundance of RB2 upside, high upside running backs here in the 6th round. And it's hard. Jordan Howard, James White, this is PPR. Please, players can eat. I'm going to go Jerick McKinnon. Because whether he's in San Francisco, Philadelphia, or the moon, I think he's going to, have a pretty big role. And for a player who had a second, third round ADP last year in the 6th round, you got to take the chance. And if I wasn't going there, I was probably going to go Mark Ingram.
You were absolutely sniping me on some of these picks. So Tevin Coleman comes off the board, Jerick McKinnon, Mark Ingram, then Chris Carson. So that's a slew of running backs off the board.
There's a surplus of running backs in the mid-rounds, Mike.
It really is. I'm going to go ahead here. I'm going to go with Damian Williams, I think.
Love it.
I think I'll lock up a Kansas City running back here. Let's get that done. So there you go. After Damian Williams, then we see David Njoku, Mike Williams, Hunter Henry, Russell Wilson, Royce Freeman. Evan Ingram finishes out the 6th round, which I like now that Odell Beckham's no longer around. Let's get into the 7th round. After the 8th round, I'm going to stop reading off these picks here. But 7th round, we see Will Fuller, Kenyon Drake, Christian Captain Kirk, Jared Goff, Dante Pettis, Jordan Howard, all come off the board. So now it is back to me with a 7th round selection. I think I'm going to go quarterback now, and I'm going to go with the guy who was sneaky good. Well, I say sneaky good because he did kind of falter after his MVP season. Now he's got Dirk Cutter back, so back with familiarity there, the offensive coordinator spot. So hopefully it's not much of an adjustment for him. I'm going to go Matt Ryan as my quarterback. After that, we see Matt Breida come off the board. We'll see what his fate is in San Francisco, followed by Robbie Anderson, a pick I do like. And then, Anthony, you were up.
I was targeting Robbie there, so that's
I figured you were.
That's a tough one to swallow. But a couple of the receivers I like. Sammy Watkins is lingering. There's Doug Baldwin and Tyler Lockett. Mike, you might kill me for it.
Mm-hmm.
This is PPR.
Yeah. Golden
Tate territory.
No, I can't hate you for that if you're going that route.
I don't know if I can pull the trigger this early.
Beauty of mocks.
There's MVS later. Really good players. It's just Golden Tate. He's going to be the wide receiver one on the team that could, going to get a lot of targets. It's not going to be like a Philadelphia last year. Golden Tate's going to go there, and he's probably going to get a ton of targets.
A lot of soul searching on your end.
I'm going to go Golden Tate.
Okay.
I feel like it's too early. But, the Giants, they're going to not be a very good team.
Yep, that's for sure. So we see Golden Tate come off the board.
There's going to be a lot of targets. They're going to be playing from behind.
Yeah, I agree. Golden Tate's off the board. James White follows him. Then we get our first defense in the 7th round. Jacksonville Jaguars. Then Sammy Watkins, Doug Baldwin, and then Anthony, back to you.
Back to me again. How the hell is Jacksonville's defense? Come on, Sleeper Bot.
I know. Come on, Sleeper Bot. You're better than that. Anyway.
So, I'm sitting here, no tight end, pretty good running backs. I like my receivers. My guy Trey Burton is sitting there. There's Eric Ebron too. Ebron's probably the wise decision considering they brought in Devin Funchess. And that means even with Jack Doyle in, Ebron is going to get those red zone looks, and I'm going to eat them up, and so is Andrew Luck.
All right, so there you go. So there goes Eric Ebron, followed by Lamar Miller, Cam Newton. So the quarterbacks are starting to thin out here. Anthony, I'm going wide receiver here. And here's some debate here. I'm debating currently. See, I don't believe in Tyler Lockett recreating his touchdown output from last season. I know Anthony Miller is there. I'm a little skeptical on some of these Chicago pass catchers on which one will emerge as the top dog, even though I know Anthony Miller was a guy who had himself a decent amount of touchdowns as well. To me, I'm looking at Marvin Lewis, fuck's sake. I'm looking at Marvin Jones. That's my one curse for the show, Anthony.
You do
Marvin
curse
Jones,
every show.
I try not to. This one's late. Marvin Jones or Sterling Shepard, because while you like Golden Tate, which I get. I also feel like in Sterling Shepard's case, he may draw the opposing team's second best coverage. Perhaps it's going to be difficult to see how that dynamic's going to work out. So if I'm looking at the two of them, you know what? I think I'll go Marvin Jones if he stays healthy.
I like it.
Team's number one wide receiver. I like Stafford more than I like Eli Manning.
Oh, he's going to be two to Galladay.
So, yeah, I know, but I'm gonna go Marvin Jones here.
I almost did instead of Tate.
Then we get a bunch of wide receivers: Tyler Lockett, Marquise Goodwin, Sterling Shepard, Los Angeles Rams, Anthony Miller. Ronald Jones finishes out the 8th round, and now I'm done reading off picks, folks. So this is a lesson to you podcast listeners. You can go ahead and you can go to YouTube or go to our Periscope channel and then watch along there. So 9th round right now, 7th pick. It is back to me. You know, he always seems to fall on drafts, yet he always seems to get himself a whole load of targets. I think that's going to be the case again. He is your Super Bowl MVP. Hopefully he will avoid a 4-game suspension. I'm going to go with Julian Edelman here.
I love it. I absolutely love that pick.
PPR league, let's lock that up. Then it goes to Anthony, 10th pick in the 9th round. Anthony, how you feeling?
I'm definitely feeling pretty good.
You want Devin Funchess?
Absolutely not.
What? What do you mean?
I feel like I'm going to kick myself if I wait on quarterback because you know who I'm targeting.
Oh, you still haven't gotten quarterback yet, huh?
No.
Wow. Some good names still out there, though.
Absolutely. That's why.
I'm
the player I wanted went, and that was Jay Ajayi, because Ajayi is probably going to sign with the Colts behind probably a line that's going to be top 5.
Right.
So that was the pick I wanted. I could go running back. See, Duke Johnson's going to be on the move. So that could be a nice little sneaky pick to bolster my running back depth.
Just for you podcast listeners, some of those quarterbacks that are available that we're talking about: Jameis Winston, Lamar Jackson, Drew Brees, Dak Prescott, Sam Darnold, Matthew Stafford, Phillip Rivers, Josh Allen. So there's a slew of quarterbacks there. But Anthony, we got 40 seconds on your draft clock here.
9th round. Oh, this is where it gets really tough for me. God.
Man, this man's torn. You would hope it takes you this long to think about cheesecake.
I'm going to go LaShawn McCoy.
Okay.
To bounce back.
And a bounce back, he says. Okay, so now it's back to me. Let's see where we're at here.
But if you look at my team makeup with the backs I have, should McCoy play better? If this Bills offense with all their additions play better and LaShawn McCoy can get going a little bit, I can always flip him.
That's true.
So there's the strategy behind that. And I'm also going to make a pick. I'm going to wait on quarterback. I don't give a damn if anybody has a problem with it, tweet at me, because as of now, he is not retired. And if you can get Rob Gronkowski in round 10, I mean, the upside's going to be there if he plays.
Well, there were some rumors that he was out in California, I believe, doing some hot yoga. So perhaps he's getting ready. So there you go.
LaShawn McCoy, 9. Rob Gronkowski, 10.
Not bad picks. Not bad picks. I like it. All right, now it's up to me here in the 10th round, 6th pick of the 10th round. I'm looking around here. Now, after you did take LaShawn McCoy, Nyheim Hines, Deion Lewis, Duke Johnson were all running backs that came off the board. It may be time for me to take a running back, but I may wait a little bit longer, even though it's probably ill-advised. I think I might wait a little bit longer on that. Let me take a look at this here. You know what? I'm going to do a pick that might not be that, might be ill-advised, but you know what? I believe in him that much. I know I've already got George Kittle, but darn it, I think O.J. Howard's going to be a beast on this Buccaneers team. I think he might emerge to be one of those tight ends who's taken late and might be a top 5 tight end when it's all said and done. I'm going to go with him here in this draft. I know it's ill-advised, but we can flex a tight end here. I'll also rely on the bye week for a tight end, 12-team league, whatever. Sue me. Anthony, do you hate that pick?
OJ, I don't even know how we lasted that long.
Well, there you go. He's off the board now, so there's that. God's honest, I went ahead and took tight end there because I wanted to give Sleeperbot a reason to take some of these running backs so that I wouldn't have to. I do not love the names that are here. My tight end position is going to be pretty thin. I currently have running backs. I currently have 3 running backs. Anthony, how many running backs do you have right now?
19. No, 4.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh boy.
I'll tell you, I'm heated right now.
What's the matter? Want to talk about it?
Dak Prescott and Sam Darnold are off the board. So is Kirk Cousins, Jameis Winston, Trubisky, and Lamar Jackson. But Drew Brees hasn't been taken yet, and neither has Phillip Rivers. And let me tell you something. I'm going for. I'm going with one of those quarterbacks with my next pick.
You know what? I'm going to do a little bit of Carlos Hyde ended up in Kansas City. I've already got Damian Williams. I'm going to shore up that backfield a little bit, kind of handcuff it a little bit. And I'm going to go with Carlos Hyde. So I'll take him for another running back. Let's get him off the board. Anthony,
Dak was my target.
Oh, there you go.
But, I mean, how can you complain when you're getting Drew Brees in round 11?
Yeah. Yeah, for real. So there you go. So Drew Brees is off the board. Now, Anthony, it's back to you again.
I got 4 running backs. I could use another wide receiver. I'm not really in love with a lot of these guys here, but there is one that's a sneaky pick right about here. And I think you might like this one. It's Tyrell Williams.
All right. I do like that, actually. So Tyrell Williams is off the board. Let me see this.
Is he off the board? Because it's not letting me take him.
Well, it's not telling me you took anybody after Drew Brees. So how you like them apples?
Well, that's because I didn't. I'm taking Tyrell Williams.
Oh, okay. There we go. Well, that kind of updated. Sleeperbot's a little tricky there. All right, well, now it's to me, Anthony. I got the 6th pick in the 12th round. I've got some wide receivers here. Let me take a look at this now. You got Traquan Smith, Devin Funchess, which it's not going to happen. Robert Foster, Dante Moncrief, Quincy Enunwa, who's a guy I always like, as Anthony knows. Let's go look at this. Honestly, I think.
You okay there?
I'm thinking, doing some soul searching. It's actually, is it letting me draft? I don't know if it's letting me draft. I would like to go with the defense here, but I don't know if it's letting me draft, Anthony.
Right.
Let's take a look at this. Let's refresh this. Scroll on down. There you go. Now it refreshed. Beautiful. No, it's good now. We're good. All right. You know what? I'm going to go with the defense right now because they're hard to get. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans. I'm going to take care of that right now. So there you go. Sleeper had a little bit of a hiccup, but they're back. Now we're drafting. We're drafting fine. So, Anthony, I've got my defense off the board now. I've got a quarterback. I've got 4 running backs. I apologize. 4 wide receivers, 2 tight ends. So really right now we have what? How many rounds are left here? I think we have 3 more picks if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 3 more picks. So I kind of take a look at this and get the lay of the land here. Anthony, in a 12-team league, 1 quarterback, do you go with a backup quarterback or no?
You know what?
In this 12-team league, do you consider backup quarterbacks at all? Or do you
it depends who my starter is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I got somebody I can kind of rely on there in Matt Ryan. You know what I'm going to go with here? I'm going to sneak in a little bit running back here, just in case if Devontae Freeman turns out to have a little bit of an injury complex. I'm going to sneak Ito Smith in here real quick. He is the second running back in command. Most people would have drafted Tevin Coleman at this point if he was still in Atlanta, of course. I'm going to take a shot here at one Ito Smith. Stash and grab, see if that works. Him compared to some of the other running backs there, I like my chances with this playing time. Anthony, it is now to you. What do you do?
Let's see. I have a pretty good, well-balanced team. And now it's going to be all about depth and value. We have a couple of unemployed running backs here. I'm on the YouTube chat right now. And
oh, yeah?
Somebody said nobody took a rookie running back, and there are rookies in Sleeper Bot, and without having a landing spot, it's tough. So we're going to go off of their ADP, and now, you know what? I'm going to take a rookie running. I'm going to take David Montgomery.
All right. Very nice. Now it's back to you, Anthony. Again, now this is your second to last pick.
Oh, so, I don't have a defense or a kicker.
No, you don't.
I'm so used to the deeper league.
Mm.
So we're going to take a defense here, obviously.
And just to let folks know, as this is an early draft, we plan to do many of drafts. So at some point, we're going to get your acquired taste, whether that be a deep bench or a deep roster, whether it's two quarterbacks, half-point PPR, even standard for you standard folks that are living in the past. We'll do that for you too. But yeah, we will touch base on a lot of these drafts. Anthony, which defense are you going with?
I'm going to go Green Bay.
Okay.
I love what they did this offseason. Their pass rush is going to be absolutely remarkable with Ladarius Smith and Preston Smith, and they added Adrian Amos on the back end at safety, and they have those young corners that they took last year. This Green Bay Packers defense in fantasy is going to be legit.
Okay. I like it. Well, you know what? You mentioned the rookies. I'm going to be absolutely cheesy now, and I'm going to draft DK Metcalf because no one did. So, I mean, I think the hype is going to be real enough where he's probably going to go too early, I bet.
But I'll take all the A.J. Brown.
All right. Well, there you go. And I don't blame you for that, by the way. I'm just going DK Metcalf here. So, and now it's up to going back down the wire. Last selection. It's going to me. This is the unexciting point for a lot of you drafters, and that's the kicker position. But will they let me take a kicker here? Because apparently there's no kickers in the league according to Sleeper app. So there you go, Anthony. Are your kickers showing up on yours?
I'm not even taking a kicker.
That's okay. All right, fine. So that's
I got kickers, but I rather
okay.
Let's pretend it's a little bit of a deeper, one round deeper. I'm going to take a position player just because I think people care about that more.
All right, fine, fair enough. Yeah, and I'll use that same sort of logic here. Then fine, and I'm going to go with a running back position. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Rex Burkhead.
I like
my final selection.
My final selection. Ooh, there's some receiver, huh? Buried receiver, pretty good receiver.
There are.
Brandon Marshall. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? I'm going to go Larry Fitzgerald. Nice solid pick. Buried in the 15th round.
I love it. All right. Well, listen, we're going to put I'm going to put together these teams. We're going to get this on Twitter. We'll put it on Facebook as well.
And you got to vote.
We used to do this over the summer, and we're going to let you guys rock the vote and decide who picked the better team. Sometimes I was embarrassed. Sometimes Anthony was embarrassed. Sometimes we were both embarrassed, quite frankly. But that's the beauty of Twitter. You can let us know exactly what you think of our teams. But Anthony, quick glance, how you feeling?
I like my team a lot, Mike. I I love how I started out with running back. It's a PPR league, and my first couple of backs are pretty, PPR savvy. Geis, we don't know how he's going to be in a passing game yet, but then I came back and got guys like Cooper Kupp and Golden Tate who are going to get a ton of targets. And at least in Cooper Kupp's direction, he's going to get a lot of red zone targets. Same thing with Eric Ebron. So I'm really, really excited and happy about this team. And then, of course, Gronk.
Right.
If Gronk looks like he did in the Super Bowl or the AFC Championship, and you're going to get that in the 10th round, assuming he plays, that's phenomenal.
Yeah, I love my team. Absolutely love it. Kicking it off with Odell Beckham and Antonio Brown. Hard not to like that. So I would take this team to war right now. So there you go. But we will put these on social media for those of you who may not have followed along with the entire draft. But Anthony, anything else to say in closing before we ride off into the sunset?
Yes, absolutely. If you're listening right now on the Gridiron Experts Network of podcasts, please subscribe to the FF Faceoff. Same thing if you're listening or watching on the Grilling Truth. Please, please, please subscribe to the FF Faceoff directly, because we're always putting out content that doesn't necessarily make it to our third-party feeds. And for all of our podcast listeners, whether it's a Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn, Amazon Alexa, Google Podcasts, or especially you Apple Podcast users, please subscribe to the FF Faceoff. Leave us a 5-star rating and a 5-star review with some kind words telling everyone why you love the FF Faceoff and why we are the best damn fantasy football podcast on the planet, where fantasy meets reality. Because the more subscriptions, ratings, and reviews that we get, the more people we can reach. And in the end, we want to help each and every one of you win fantasy football championships, dominate your leagues, and absolutely positively crush the competition. We will maintain the culture of winning we've built here in the FF Faceoff for over 162 episodes and over 2 years since our inception. Mike, great show. As always, take us home.
Yeah, this was a fun one. Enjoyed this, and we'll bring lots of mock drafts to you folks. So it's just the beginning. But yeah, thank you for listening. It's been a blast. We'll catch you guys on Thursday. Have a safe couple days. Cheers.
Let's say you just bought a house. Bad news is, you're one step closer to becoming your parents. You'll proudly mow the lawn, ask if anybody noticed you mowed the lawn, tell people to stay off the lawn, compare it to your neighbor's lawn, and complain about having to mow the lawn again. Good news is, it's easy to bundle home and auto through Progressive and save on your car insurance, which, of course, will go right into the lawn. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Discount not available in all states or situations.
The big wireless companies sold you an outdated plan tied to long-term contracts and mystery fees. Simple Mobile's different. You get a lightning-fast 4G LTE nationwide network with no contract, ever. And keep the phone and number you love. Just text the word BYOP to 611-611 to see if your phone is compatible. Simple Mobile. Out with the old, in with the simple.
Standard text message and data rates may apply based on your mobile phone service. Please refer always to the privacy policy at simplemobile.com/privacy policy and the terms and conditions at simplemobile.com/terms and conditions.